On this week's episode of Halton Footy Corner, we talk to former TFC Academy keeper Lucas Bernstingle about his time in Scotland. Then we chat to Mark Wharton from the Oakville Soccer Club about coaching development. And in this week's 4 rapid-fire questions, we talk to former Canadian national team captain Jason DeVos. Now we got a lot of stuff to talk about on this week's episode. First and foremost, we're going to catch up with the Oakville Soccer Club and find out how they're training the next group of coaches to train your kids on how to be the best players they possibly can be and why that's so important for the club. So we're up here in the gorgeous Lion's Den at the King's Arms in downtown Oakville, and I'm joined by Mark Wharton, the Director of Coaching Development at the Oakville Soccer Club. And we want to talk a little bit about coaching development, as that is your forte, and what a phenomenal job you guys are doing and why it's so important for you to develop coaches. Why is that?
Well, to serve our players as best we can, it's important that we get the coaches trained to the highest level possible so that they can impart the knowledge and wisdom and current techniques to the players to aid in their development.
Now, you guys do a couple of things. I wanted to touch on, especially to start off with, what you guys do for the house league level coaches, because that's kind of the foundation, the first step for coaches, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the house league coaches of today could potentially be the rep coaches of tomorrow. So what we like to do is give them the basic or a good stepping stone to start from. So we're doing a lot of coaching education at Oakville, and we try to get at least once a month as many house league coaches as we can together. We go through relevant training sessions from a warm-up to all the components of an effective training session.
Now, what's the progress been with that programming? Because I imagine you've seen some people go from one stage to taking that next step. Is that a fairly common thing for you guys?
There are always people moving from from house league into rep. Typically, the pathway is the parent coaches, and as their child moves on to kind of U8, U9, where we have our advanced development program, they often join in there as a parent coach. So what we like to do with it being a development program is we like to assist our coaches in everywhere we can. So we do actually additional coaching education. We have our education coaching ed for house league coaches, but we also for the rep and ADP coaches. We have, I guess, a little higher level coaching education evenings.
All right, and then for the rep level coaches, you guys, dare I say, go the extra mile. And when we saw the Ontario Soccer Summit a couple of weeks ago, you guys supported that quite strongly. You had quite a few people out for that too, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we were approaching close to 30 coaches and team managers that were there, and that's something else we do at Oakville Soccer Club. As much as we're doing our in-house coaching ed programs, also to get exposure to the University of Toronto Coaches Conference, the Soccer Summit with Ontario Soccer, and some of our coaches have actually gone down south of the border to the NSCAA, or United Soccer Coaches annual convention, which is usually held in Baltimore or Philadelphia. And that's a really good event, 4-day event. You get some quality clinicians coming from all over the world, from world-renowned soccer coaching, top teams in Europe like Dinamo Zagreb, Feyenoord, Ajax, top clubs that are really keen on developing their players. And so to see that level of coach is phenomenal.
Now, you talked about a couple of the different ways that you develop coaches in-house. Could you talk a little bit more about maybe how you guys are doing that at the rep level? Because I understand I coach, or I'm an assistant with the U16Cs, And when I heard that there was the opportunity for yourself and Chris Grierson, the technical director, to come out to one of our practices and maybe pick up some points for us to use moving forward, and maybe the other coaches that come along with that to have moving forward. Why is that so important, and what are those sort of options that you provide, or opportunities that you provide for coaches to see other coaches that work within the club?
Yeah, well, what we're doing is, part of my role, I have to come out and evaluate each coach twice a year. So I'll be kind of visible and come into a lot of coaches' training sessions where I'll evaluate them. We have our own in-house coaching template for a coaching session, training session. So we'll kind of share with our coaches this document and basically best practices for the sessions. So I'll be out there. We'll get the players using these session plans, which takes you through each step of the coaching session, from your warm up to your the methodology that we're using right now in Ontario is game, activity, game. So we do start off with an introduction, small-sided game. Then our session theme is actually pared back to its rawest form, so that we can actually focus in on the coaching topic, whether it be 1v1 attacking, 1v1 defending, or just any larger session as well. And then obviously the coaching points that you really hammer home in this analytical portion in this centre, when you go to your final small-sided game, you actually can bring that out, and hopefully that it brings itself out actually. And if you have to make a couple of coaching observations, stoppages, corrections, you go in and do that. But it's all about best practices, and if we can use this methodology in this format, it will help your session kind of flow smoothly.
Now, for you, you're pulling double duty as not just the role that you have at the Oakville Soccer Club, but you're also one of the coaches at the University of Waterloo. How does that relationship work, and what opportunities are there for local soccer players at the university ranks?
Yeah, well, obviously, I started as head coach at men's program at University of Waterloo last August, so I'm really only entering the recruiting cycle now for the summer and fall season in 2018. So obviously being involved with Oakville for the last 17 years, and I've seen a lot of players come through and go on to universities in the States and top universities in Canada. But if any player kind of catches my eye, and